Let's take a look at this problem. A person's body mass index, or BMI, is given by the formula BMI equals 703W divided by h squared, where W is the weight of a person in pounds and h is the person's height measured in inches. If a person is 160 centimeters tall and weighs 55 kilograms, what is that person's BMI? Show all your work, round your answer to the nearest tenth, and write your answer in a complete sentence. Okay, so in this particular problem, what we're given is we're given an expression here, 703W divided by h squared. And this expression kind of looks like the ones that we've done before. And notice that we have values for W that we would plug in, the weight of a person in pounds, and values for h that we would plug in, which is the person's height measured in inches. So in this particular problem, what we want to do is plug in a value for W and a value for h to come up with what this particular person's BMI is. So not really very different than what we've done before. One thing that you have to be cautious of when you're working with real-world problems is that you need to make sure when you're using formulas, if your variables are defined in a very specific way, like these ones are, that we need to make sure that we fit the terms of what those requirements are. So in this problem, we need the weight of a person in pounds and their height in inches. Now, they're given, the measurements are given to us in centimeters and in kilograms. So the first step, before we can think about plugging in my values in for W and H, we're going to have to do some unit conversions. So let's do a little bit of a review from what we've done before. Let's go ahead and try this with our dimensional analysis process. Here, let's see, so when we want to figure out our W, or the person's weight, we want the weight to be in pounds. So right now we know that that person weighs 55 kilograms and we'd like to change that to pounds. So we're going to think of that as 55 over 1. We want to get rid of kilograms and change it to pounds. Now, at this point, what you'd want to do is look this up on a conversion table if this isn't something that you know. And so we'll use that 1 kilogram is equal to 2.205 pounds. And you should be able to find that on the conversion tables in the book if you need it. The kilograms would cancel, leave me with pounds. And I can see that I'll need to multiply 55 times 2.05 to get this to work. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up the calculator. Get that ready to go here. So we're going to do 55 times 2.205, and that will get me 121.275. Oops, I forgot. 275 on the top over 1, so 121.3 pounds. We'll just go ahead and round that there. Then we need to figure out what that person's height is. Right now we're given that they are 160 centimeters tall, and we want to go from centimeters to inches. In this particular case, centimeters are on top, so they need to go on the bottom. And we can look up how many, a relationship between centimeters and inches on a conversion chart if it's not something that you know. In this case, we know that 1 inch is going to be equal to 2.54 centimeters. That'll get the centimeters to cancel. Multiplying across the top and the bottom, I get 160 multiplying across the top, 2.54 multiplying across the bottom, and then I just need to do that division to come up with my final solution. So in this case, I have 160, and I want to divide it by 2.54, which gives me 62.9921. We'll just round that up to 63 inches. Then for our solution, we need to go ahead and calculate the BMI, and we can do that using the expression that they told us. Remember, it was 703W over h squared. So now we can evaluate by substituting the numbers that we know. W is going to be 121.3. Now that it's in pounds, we can plug it in. And h is going to be 63. Now that it's in inches, we can plug it in. Now, at this point, we need to figure out what 703 times 121 is. That gives us 85, oops. $85,273.9 on the top. And then on the bottom, we can go ahead and do that exponent there. We need to do 63 squared, and that's 3969. And then we can divide those values to come up with our final solution. So 85,273.9 divided by 3969. And we come up with 21.4849 and so on. It says to round to the nearest tenth. Remember, the nearest tenth is one digit after the decimal. So this says 21.48. The 8 will have us rounded up to be 21.5. Will be the person's BMI. So that would be our rounded solution. Now for the last part of the problem, and you'll be asked to do this a lot throughout the quarter, is to write your answer in a complete sentence. What you want to do in any time that you're trying to communicate results mathematically, you want to make sure that you give the context of the problem, that you give what your solution is, and make sure that you include appropriate units if necessary. So for example here, you could say the body mass index, or BMI, of a 160 centimeter tall person weighing 55 kilograms would be 21.5. So something like that, where you give what was it that you were finding measurements of, give it context for your specific situation, and give what your solution is. In this case, we don't really have a type of unit that we give for body mass index, so we can just leave it at that 21.5. But if this was something that we knew a unit for, we would definitely want to include that in our description.